Hey y'all, Shane Curl from Personal Survival Solutions. Welcome to our first set of videos here. One of the things that I wanted to do when we started off is not just jump into context and show you some shooting videos or rifle videos or something like that. I think we kind of need to set the pace here and build a foundation with what we think goes into building an individual protective system. Because what we want is an all-encompassing system, and when we're training here at Personal Survival Solutions, we look at everybody kind of for who they are, and the demographic that we get spans kind of wide variety. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach you things that are tactically viable, fall within principles and concepts, and meet an end state which is defined by success, whatever that is for you, and make it that individual protective system that's unique to you and your lifestyle and the person that you are and the threats that you think you might encounter out there. So, but with that, there's some things that we think go into this system, because a lot of times people will strap on a gun and they think that's the answer to every question on the test or the quiz, and it may or may not be, but we need to have a plan B and sometimes C, and we've got to have these other options that as these things develop, if we find ourselves in an encounter, that the gun isn't the only tool that we have access to. So some of the things that we think that go into an individual protective system is first and foremost, we got to develop a good protective mindset and spectrum of awareness. Now we'll do associated videos later on that kind of go more in depth in all these different subjects, but that first and foremost, we have to be able to sit down, make some moral and ethical decisions, decide what our willingness is or what we're willing to do to protect ourselves and protect the people we care about. We need to cultivate that before we go into the world as an armed citizen. Because if we haven't made those choices, we could hesitate at the time when it's most crucial for us. Okay, that awareness, if we can avoid a fight and not be involved in one, that's ideal. But then as we progress along, we have to deal with people in our day-to-day environment. And something that is really lacking out there in a lot of people's training and practice is managing unknown contacts, what Craig Douglas refers to as muck, okay, in the ShivWorks guys. Managing unknown contacts, dealing with people. We know that that you all have done this all the time and didn't even realize you're doing it. The criminal element understands when people approach you and trying to encroach on your space, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get close to you. They are trying to get something from you, and they'll try and capitalize on that. We have to have a system in place to be able to deal with those folks. And with that, it's being able to have a conversation. I think the way that society has gone nowadays, we lack the ability to have conversations with other people. A lot of times we're stuck in our phones or we're in our own little worlds. And just managing somebody that you don't know is having the ability to talk, have a verbal recording that we practice, and have a conversation that could essentially maybe de-escalate something that could potentially be a lethal force encounter. Okay, so that's something that needs to be in the system. And then we need to be able to scale up as the situation dictates. So having less than lethal options is important for us. The other thing that's important for us is having rudimentary combative skills. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and become a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt or a ninja, or a UFC MMA fighter, but having some rudimentary skills to be able to shield your head, stay upright and conscious by going to a default cover and maybe doing some strikes, or having the ability to preemptively strike if it's warranted, and then escalate up as things are necessary. What goes along with that, and I think what a lot of people, especially those that strap a firearm on and think that's going to be the answer to every question on the test, is having a functional level of fitness. It's extremely important. Number one, for our well-being, the ability to protect ourselves and protect the people we care about, but also just overall health, and helps with our resiliency and just being able to deal with daily stressors. But having some sort of functional fitness, and just like the combatives thing, not saying that you have to be, an Olympic athlete or a world-class triathlete or something like that, but do we have enough functional fitness that I can hop a low wall? I can go ahead and throw a chair through a window and be able to pick up my kid or my grandkid and hop through that? Can I extricate myself from a vehicle if I'm in an accident and I can't get out of the door? Can I break the window and crawl out? These things that, don't take a lot of time, but we have to build them into our routine. Okay? Going from there, and I mentioned them briefly already, is having some less than lethal options. Okay, because if we can't de-escalate, maybe I can use a less than lethal option to create an opportunity for me to be able to disengage and get out of there, unless something or someone is keeping me right there and I have to deal with it. But being able to disengage is ultimately what we want to do. So having things like OC spray, pepper spray, and having the ability and training to use that, know when it's appropriate to use it. Having small impact weapons, blackjacks, saps, bludgeons, depending on what the law is in your state, those are all options. Again, they need training, but they are things that we can implement prior to going just to lethal. After that, skillet arms, all are lethal things. If you choose to carry an edge weapon and learn how to use that and implement it into our system. Our pistol, rifle, shotgun, long gun, long range stuff, depending on when we do this individual threat assessment, what we feel we need to complete this individual protective system that we're looking for. All these things kind of go into this comprehensive system that we're trying to develop here. Right? Notice one of the key things that I continue to say with this when we're building the system is going and get training, and then after that we need to be able to practice it, and we have to practice it in a very structured environment in order for us to be able to gain these skills and gain a level of automaticity that I'll be able to recall them, or the subconscious mind will be able to recall them in a time of need, freeing up my forebrain or conscious brain to be able to critically think and problem solve. Now, everybody likes to go out and have fun and learn how to induce trauma, whether it's through shooting, stabby, pointy things, going and punching people in the face and doing combatives. And that's good. Those are all important skill sets. But we forget that bullets and pointy things go both ways. We might be the one punched in the face. We could be stabbed. We could be shot, or one of our loved ones could be. And so trauma training or medical training is a very important aspect of developing a good comprehensive individual protective system. Okay? It's one of the things that we find very hard to get people in the seats because they think when we teach these classes that all we're teaching is how to fix traumatic injuries via penetrating trauma through gunshot wounds, stab wounds, things like that. But the thing of it is we don't really care what the mechanism of injury is or what really caused it. How we're going to fix it is going to be the same thing. So now we take our Guardian Medical Essentials class and we gear it towards the armed citizen, but those skills are just as important if you roll up on a car accident. We've had students that have had to use the principles and concepts that we teach to be able to save somebody's life out there in the world, just like car accidents and the such. So having medical training to round everything out is important, because heck, we've had a heck of a lot more people utilize their medical skills than they ever have their gunfighting skills. Okay, these are things that we have to cultivate, we have to train with, we have to practice with to develop this good individual protective system that's unique to us, and we have to train all these different aspects throughout the day, throughout the week, and throughout whatever your training cycle is. But if we're not hitting all those things, we're going to have a deficiency somewhere in our system. So we offer training for all these things. You can look and see what our upcoming schedule is, and we'll soon have 2024 schedule out at www.personalsurvivalsolutions.com. You can visit us at Personal Survival Solutions at Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Okay, we hope to see you on the range, and until then, always vigilant, always prepared.